Welcome to the Geostrategic Podcast.
The global competition for robotics dominance. Well, it's not science fiction anymore, is it? It's happening right now. And the sources we've gathered today, they really paint a picture of urgency. We're talking about how China's huge commercial lead in these automated machines is translating almost directly into future military power. And, what that shift means for U.S. security, like today.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this a bit. Our mission here is to really get a handle on the current state of this robotics race. How does a company selling, cheap commercial robots suddenly become a strategic military asset? And why is this competition maybe different from past industrial challenges? Why does it threaten to fundamentally reset the global balance of power?
Yeah, what's really fascinating here, I think, is that we're looking at the exact convergence point, where industrial strategy meets the future of warfare. Beijing has been very explicit about this. Robotics is a central pillar for both their economic and defense goals. This isn't just about grabbing market share. It's about setting the foundational standards, the supply chains for the whole automated economy.
And when we say commitment, we really mean a strategic national commitment. Robotics is right there, central to China's economic model in their 14th five-year plan. It's spelled out their goal. Exceptionally clear. They want to be a global innovation hub in robotics by 2025. And then achieve true world leadership by 2035. I mean, this isn't just wishful thinking. It sounds like a fully budgeted national imperative.
Oh, absolutely. And the investment level makes that goal seem, entirely achievable. Just look at the numbers we found. Between 2013 and 2022, Chinese universities, they dramatically expanded their talent pool, added over 7,500 new engineering majors, with almost 100 focused just on robotics. But the real structural advantage, the thing that probably keeps Western companies up at night, is the intellectual property. Chinese institutions right now hold more than 190,000 robot-related patents. That's stunning. It's 2/3 of the global total. And their academic output, papers at major conferences, it's already outpacing American contributions.
Wow. Okay, so that intellectual and talent dominance, it translates directly into an economic advantage, one that just fundamentally changes the rules of the game. Let's look at this price-performance shock you mentioned, maybe using Unitree as the main example. They seem to be a key Chinese robotics player. They're selling their G1 humanoid robot for just $16,000.
$16,000. And just to give you some context for how disruptive that is, that's roughly 1/10, maybe even less, of the cost of comparable Western systems. And this is critical, right? The sources are clear. These are not low-quality imitators. They're functional, capable platforms. They've somehow managed to compress decades of R&D into a product that's accessible, not just to huge corporations, but, small businesses, universities, maybe even individuals around the world.
And that economic accessibility, that low price, it ensures massive volume, doesn't it? I read that last year alone, China shipped 10 times as many robots as key U.S. competitors, like Boston Dynamics, sending these machines to customers in 100 different countries. I mean, that's how you rapidly establish global market dominance.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you really see why volume is the secret weapon here. Robotics is, it's fundamentally poised to reshape global economic and military power. The market for these machines, the services around them, it's projected to surge, maybe $7 trillion by 2050. And that's fueled by this urgent global need for sophisticated machines to handle physical tasks, what some call embodied intelligence.
Oh, wait, let's pause there for a second. Embodied intelligence. Can you break that down in simple terms for us?
Sure. Simply put, embodied intelligence is AI that has a physical body. It's not just code running on a server somewhere. It's software inside a physical machine, like a robot dog or a humanoid platform that interacts with, learns from, and navigates the physical world in real time. Think of it like the difference between ChatGPT, which exists only online, and an autonomous robot working in a warehouse. Got it. Okay. And that brings us right back to this military flywheel effect. China's strategy relies on these mass-produced commercial platforms sold by Unitree and others, capturing huge amounts of operational data streams from all those customers in all those 100 countries.
Precisely. That data is the critical fuel. Every single time a Unitree robot operates in a new environment, maybe a crowded city street in Brazil or a logistics warehouse in Germany, it's collecting sensor data, it's learning how to navigate, it's refining its autonomy systems. This massive global commercial data collection accelerates China's machine learning and AI capabilities for the whole robotics sector, much, much faster than purely military testing or, contained domestic testing ever could.
And so for the People's Liberation Army, the PLA, this commercial success translates almost instantly into military potential.
It absolutely does. They gain an immediate advantage in developing capabilities like autonomous urban warfare units or advanced intelligence gathering platforms, combat systems that can operate without direct human input. And we don't even have to speculate here. We have specific details from the sources. Dozens of these commercially available unitary robot dogs have already been seen deployed in Ukraine, which just demonstrates their immediate battlefield applicability, right?
So the convergence isn't subtle at all. It's explicit. PLA analysts themselves apparently describe humanoid robots as, and I'm quoting here, the key link in robots replacing humans in intelligentized warfare. The message seems simple and terrifyingly efficient. The factory's churning out delivery robots for the global market. They're the same ones that can pivot. They can start manufacturing military-grade, bomb-carrying autonomous systems. Commercial leadership in this specific area is strategic military strength. And this is where, I guess, the history lesson comes in. Our sources make it pretty clear that we've seen this exact playbook executed before. China used the same handful of mules, didn't they? Massive state support, relentless cost reduction, flooding global markets to effectively neutralize Western competitors in industries like 5G telecom, solar cells.
Batteries, drones, electric vehicles,
Yeah.
the list goes on. So this raises a really important question, one that you, the listener, should probably consider. Why is losing the robotics market different? Why is it potentially more dangerous than losing, say, the solar panel market? Because failing to take this competition seriously means watching Beijing basically set the rules of the automated economy globally. If we don't control the underlying physical technology, the actual robots, we risk leaving American power, both economic and military, quote, to rust in an increasingly automated world.
Which means the U.S. faces this fundamental and really difficult challenge. How do we rapidly build a capable modern robotics manufacturing base, especially when we're facing our own demographic decline and the rise of cheap AI? The sources seem to suggest the solution lies precisely in mastering these mobile robotics platforms, these embodied intelligence systems we talked about, using them to rebuild our industrial strength and, render necessary services in physical space. So what can the U.S. actually do? How do we respond at the scale and speed this seems to require? The sources outline a pretty detailed, multi-pronged path forward. It seems designed to match the urgency of the Chinese threat, covering everything from regulation and industry support to talent and infrastructure.
Yeah, let's maybe break down the 5 core policy suggestions the sources lay out, just reporting them impartially. First, the recommendation is about immediate security, restricting Unitrary's operations right here on U.S. soil. This would likely mean invoking the ICTS executive order. And just to clarify for you, that's the framework the U.S. uses to protect our information and communications tech supply chain from foreign adversaries, like they use against TikTok. This step would target that critical data collection risk, inherent in letting these platforms operate freely here.
Okay, second area, boosting the domestic supply chain. Makes sense. If we want to build robots in America, we need key components that, we often don't make here right now. The focus seems to be on critical, hard-to-source parts like high-precision actuators and reducers.
Exactly. Those components are the absolute linchpins for complex robot movement. They control the precision, the strength of every joint, every motor. If we can't reliably build those domestically, the sources suggest we need an accelerated path. Maybe tariff-exempt importation from reliable allies, like Japan and South Korea.
Yeah.
Basically, fast-tracking the components needed to stand up American robotics factories immediately.
Third point, accelerating private investment. In a serious way. The sources recommend significantly increasing the leverage cap for small business investment companies, SBICs. Why that specific change? What does that do?
Well, SBICs use government backing to essentially multiply the capital available for private investment. Right now, the typical leverage cap, it's often too low. It might be enough to fund some R&D, but it's generally not enough to fund the really capital-intensive stuff like building an actual factory and its supply chain. Raising that cap potentially changes the calculation entirely. It could free up crucial private capital for building, not just researching.
Makes sense. Fourth, we need to make sure the best global talent comes to America. The sources emphasize expanding the use of something called the International Entrepreneur Rule, or maybe creating a dedicated visa category just for foreign founders with proven track records in advanced robotics. The idea is to ensure the most ambitious minds in automation choose the U.S. to launch their next-gen companies instead of going elsewhere.
And the fifth, the final suggestion, seems centered on creating the right physical infrastructure, establishing these advanced manufacturing zones supported by a coordinated federal effort. These zones would offer, it looks like, 3 key things. 1, expedited federal permitting for construction. 2, liability shields for testing complex autonomous systems, which is tricky. And 3, maybe 10-year tax holidays specifically for robotics production.
So that whole package of support, it essentially creates a dedicated ecosystem, one designed for rapid iteration, rapid deployment, maximizing the chances for U.S. robotics companies to scale up quickly enough to actually compete with what sounds like the wartime speed of China's industrial mobilization in this area. So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you? I think the critical insight from this deep dive is that this race for robotics, it's not some future contest. It's happening now. It's high stakes, real time. Beijing is leveraging massive commercial volume directly into future military advantage. And they're ensuring, through sheer volume and low cost, that they are writing the core rules of this coming automated economy.
Yeah, and the ultimate geostrategic impact. It isn't just about losing a percentage of market share in robots. It feels much bigger. It's about potentially ceding control over the very foundation of the physical automated economy for generations to come. That's a profound thought for you to maybe mull over as you watch automation continue to spread across, well, pretty much every industry globally. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the really urgent competition for robotics supremacy. We really appreciate your curiosity.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this discussion valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to the Geostrategic podcast for more in-depth analysis on topics that shape our world. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay tuned for the next episode.